Hi, I'm Christina Johnson. I'm your host for the Pan de Dios podcast. The Pan de Dios came to me here in Mexico as an expression of goodness, of gentility, of kindness. And the podcast is about Pan de Dios moments in your life. Hi, I'm Christina Johnson with Pan de Dios. This is a really wonderful interview with Dawnmarie Presley, who I actually knew years ago. We were at University of Santa Monica together. I don't, what can I say? That's a whole experience of Pan de Dios all on its own. And Dawnmarie has a story for us that is really, I like this kind of name of sweet triumph. It's really about a day she died and how her life completely changed. And I'm really excited to introduce her on this Zoom call. I am in no, not Pascuaro anymore. I'm in Morelia, Mexico, and Dawnmarie is in the U.S. And here you go. So tell us what this story is about.
This story is about renewal, endings and beginnings, and the beginnings being completely different and an opportunity to make different choices and live a different way. So that's what this story is about. When I
Well,
was,
normally, well, I know a little bit about this story, and I'm going, normally when we say we're going to start a different way, it's really not the same way as you are telling this story. This is a real surprise.
yes, it was a surprise. It was a surprise to me too. At 25 years old, I had somewhat of a little drug addiction and alcoholism. And with that, along with that, goes not the best choices. In fact, usually pretty unsound, not well thought out choices. And that was true for the people that I hung around and the boys I decided I was going to date. And I made the mistake of falling deeply in love with a very, very wounded young man and somewhat psychotic young man. And the relationship began to get more chaotic and increasingly dangerous. And I knew I needed to leave this relationship and make some changes for myself, but I didn't know how. It was very clear that I was not going to get out of this relationship without some dangerous experiences. But I had finally had enough. And while I was at an AA club, another young man who I cared very deeply for, and he cared very deeply for me, walked up and looked me straight in the eye because he knew what I had been thinking and dealing with. And he said, you know, you're not getting out without a beating, so you might as well get it over with. And off he went. And I had never heard anything more true in my life, that I was not going to get out of this easily without any kind of turbulence or chaos. That night, I made the decision to tell him I was leaving the relationship. And he said, I'll kill you first. And I said, so be it. I had really made a decision that I was not going to stay here in that place any longer. Something had to happen in my life. And I felt that I was just ready to commit to whatever needed to happen for me to be out of that. At that point, I mean, I'll save the gory details, but at that point, he grabbed me by the back of my hair, by my hair. I had a ponytail, and he threw me around like a rag doll. I don't know how long that was. And then he threw me onto a waterbed where, you know, you have no leverage on a waterbed.
No,
In
no.
any, there's no leverage. So here I am, and he's strangling me, and he's not letting up. And the reality, I'm out of here, hit me. This is it. And I panicked, but then something came over me and I surrendered to whatever was happening. I came into complete acceptance of the circumstance. I thought of my daughter, who was very young at the time, and I heard a very clear voice say, I have her, she's mine. And at that point, there was even more surrender into the process because I was able to let that go.
When you say
Yeah.
the process, this is that you were being strangled
I
at
was
this
being
time.
strangled. Absolutely. I never lost consciousness of what was happening to me and my body. And when you're passed out, when you're knocked out, you have no clue. You're out. You don't know what's going on. I knew every step of the way what was happening to me. I did not have the experience of the tunnel, but I did experience a vibrant, incredibly bright light. And that light comes back to me from sometimes, and it's always coming from up above towards my left. Well, coming towards my right, but coming in on my left. And I've had that experience of that light coming in 3 times, and each time they were it was very important that I got that reminder that I am protected and surrounded. So here I am. I'm on this bed. I recognize that I'm out of here. I'm not get I've made many messes in my life. I'm not getting out of that one. That was my biggest mess, and I'm not getting out of it. And it actually turned out to be a beautiful, beautiful mess. I did have a very brief experience of running through my life. You know how many people report their whole life flashed before them.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
have a brief experience of that. And guess what? Nothing mattered. None of it mattered. And I heard a voice say, your mind and heart are with me. That's all that matters. So in the moment of my death, I was focused on God. I was surrounded by God. I had this incredible experience of being with what I call my Heavenly Father and Christ. No words, not um, not spoken, right? I knew what was being said, but it wasn't really being said with words.
Was transcendent.
It was transcendent.
Yes.
Yes. And what I was able to really comprehend was the overwhelming love that our Creator has for us and had for me personally. I was really able to grasp that I was created. Every single thing, every single flaw, everything about me was created. And there was nothing but love and compassion for me and my situation. And this is where everything changed well, there were a lot of moments where everything changed for me. But one of the most profound things that I learned that day was the information that he had just as much love and compassion and adoration for the young man who was strangling me. And the message was, go back and forgive yourself and others and help others do the same thing. That was quite a tall order to strangle the person. I mean, to forgive the person that took my life. But I've not been afraid of death since. I've
And
not had I, yes.
and what else? You're not afraid of death. And I know you'd mentioned forgiveness. I know that your work now is as a actually a kind of a spiritual guide of sorts. A coach wouldn't be the right word, perhaps, but doing that kind of work and helping people with forgiveness. So this is what started that rolling. I'm feeling that as you talk. It's that wave of forgiveness coming, what that's like. Tell me about
Yes. Yes. Well, at one point, he showed me my beauty, not, of course, my physical beauty, but my heart, my overwhelmingly beautiful, thick love, and my ability to love, and my ability to see the loving truth under some of the ugliness that's happening on this planet. And the next communication was, that's with your finite mind. You can't even comprehend the love that I have for you. You can't comprehend it. You cannot comprehend the beauty that I've created in you. And I couldn't. But all I knew is that I was loved, and nothing that I had done up to that point mattered. You know, a lot of people die and say that they went to hell and they had these horrific experiences and were shown what was going to happen if they didn't change their ways. That was not my experience. My experience was, I took these tattered and torn remnants of my life, and I held it up and said, please take this. And my father, my heavenly father, said, thank you. This is the most beautiful gift I've ever received. Like, the worst of me was the most beautiful, the collecting up and offering it up was just wonderful and beautiful to him. He was so happy to take that from me and bless me with hope. I did not have the choice of whether I was going to stay or not. I was kind of like thrown back down. I came back into my body, and he was still on top of me, strangling me. And I heard a voice say Jesus. And I said, and when I said that, he was thrown off of me, and he came to a standing position. And when he came back onto the bed, there was a shield around me. He could not make contact with my body. He was trying to hit me. So imagine, if you will, that these fists are coming for you, but there's a shield around you and nothing can hit you. Nothing can penetrate that, which was another profound lesson. It's like, if I am focused on the good in this world, on the good in my body, and the good in my heart, nothing can penetrate that. And we forget. We absolutely forget the power of goodness and love.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm crying. It's just because that's that's why I wanted to start this podcast. It's a reminder of goodness and the way it comes to us in all ways. And goodness seems such a small word. It doesn't cover, it's like what you were talking about. You can't, there's not an expression of some of this in our tongue and our language about
Right.
this kind of goodness and the love of God, you know.
Yes.
You're reminding me, a spiritual teacher that I have, um, who one of the tenets is, not one soul will be lost. Not one soul is lost.
Right.
It takes away, when you think of people that, whatever, you think of they're wicked, or you think they're bad, or
Right.
it doesn't, still not one soul will be lost, because each soul, this is a personal belief of my teaching, but each soul does what it needs to do, what in its evolution, whether you believe in lifetimes or just this one, as it's evolving towards love, because that's the end. That's it. That's what we're here
Yes.
for. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. What a story. You know,
And this is the very short version of that story. Those are the highlights.
well, I'm amazed you can even tell it like in a human tongue, like, because you're talking about things that are it's really difficult to, it's the devotional poets can do it really well. Rumi These they can say that language in few words that can express a little bit more of the world of the divine or the sacred world. But a long time ago, you'll remember this because but I had that accident in 2012 where the surgeon I went to repair my back made a mistake, and then I
Mhm.
was paralyzed and so on. And and I had a brain tumor. And on the way in the ambulance to the hospital to get this surgery taken care of, I was aware that they were telling me that I could die. That's what they were telling me. And the only thing it has to do with your story is that when I was in the ambulance going to the hospital, I felt so free. I
Yes.
felt so free. I realized I had nobody in my life to forgive,
Hmm.
including myself. I felt like, well, it's okay then. I feel, there's no one, there's no enemy, there's no, and it was this amazing freedom that came with the possibility of dying, which isn't like your story at all, except that the ending is, sort of the
Yeah.
freedom of knowing the love of God or the love
And
of Spirit.
it is freedom.
Yeah.
It's complete freedom. Like I was beyond earthly circumstance. And
Yeah.
I've been reminded of it a few
And
times.
earthly power. You were beyond earthly power. There's
Yes.
nothing you could do
Yeah.
earthly in terms of power. Yeah.
Mm-mm. No. So it's always a privilege to share that story. It doesn't fade. Doesn't fade. Sometimes I guess I could say that it does fade a little bit, but when I start talking about it again, the details are right there. The important things are right there, and I can feel it. The visceral experience of it is still there. And I was able to get away from that young man. And just to this day, he passed in 2014. I've not spoken to him since, but I love him so much. So much. And I think that that's what the world needs to really get over is that can I have compassion for the people that are harming me because they're just as hurt as I am. And if I hate them, then I'm in prison.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 And yeah, I could make some comments about where we are right now in the world today, but I won't
Mhm.
with that. But I think we all understand that there's um first of all, I was actually telling someone today, how strong the word hate is. The word hate it's a really
Mhm.
strong word. And and to endow somebody with that, like to hate somebody, is w- really too much energy for me. I don't,
Okay.
it's a waste of my energy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if I'm
Yes.
ever going to hate something or someone, I'm reserving it because there's nothing right now that's worth um, that kind of uh, force, that kind of strong force of the negative. There's just nothing right now that's worth it. You know,
Right.
so it is a
Yes.
strong word. Well, thank you so much for telling this story. Um, that it's I'm sure one of the most powerful and uh, transformative experiences you've ever had.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me to share my story. I think that's good. Yeah, I think we're done.
Okay. Well, usually at the end I say, may your pan de Dios always keep rising. And in this case, I say, may your pan de Dios ever keep rising and filling you with the love and the power of those beings that protect us, and how
Yeah.
we have that force is so strong. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the Pan de Dios moments. Please let us know if you have a moment that you'd like to share on the podcast. And goodbye now, and may your Pan de Dios always be rising.